Hey guys, this is Karthikeya from Apex Finserv and we're back with tomorrow's trading charts for equity as well as index outlook on Nifty and Bank Nifty. But before we start with the new charts, I really hope you guys had a good green expiry because if you're not talking about it, but if you look at it from how an expiry is supposed to be, then well, it was pretty slow for me personally because I wanted to go long on Bank Nifty, but it really didn't give me a chance to enter. Not the chance, but rather there was no convincing signal. Same goes with Nifty, but Nifty is slightly better for me because I have carried long from 11,475, 480. So that's good for me. But talking about an expiry from an intraday trader's standpoint, option buyers and those kinds, well, I really hope you guys made money because to be honest, I could not find a good entry on the indices today. Talking about the equity segment for today, of the trades that we had discussed, well, we had it was a red day on the watch list. We had stop loss hits. On the target hit side, we had Jubilant Food, if I'm not wrong, which gave a really good move about 2100. So without wasting much time ahead, let's move on to the trades for tomorrow's trading session, and let's hope we have a better day tomorrow. Starting with the first one, SR Transfin. SR Transfin, we are going to go for a breakout trade. On the upside, we are going to go long when this resistance or this supply zone is being broken. So it's a long above 730, stop loss at 720, ideal targets 1% on the upside. Moving on to the next one, Apollo Hospital. Now Apollo Hospital, we are going to go for a structure break trade. If you look at the lower low lower high formation that it has had, and again the failure to make a higher high in the recent trading sessions, it simply suggests that well, the selling pressure is not really that strong. But instead of going for a short at pullbacks, we are going to go for a short position once the lower swing low or the recent swing low breaks at 1635. The reason for that is if you look at today's candle structure at the near to the closing of the trading session or the second half, then we had a strong selling candle, as you can see, but it failed to break the previous swing low. So just to be safe, we are going to go for a breakdown trade. So we are going to enter a short position under 1635, stop loss at 1655, ideal targets being 1% on the downside. Moving on to the next one, Just Dial. Now Just Dial, we are going to go for a very simple short position. We have a strong resistance at 385, which has acted many a times for resulting in impulsive sell-off. So that is what we are betting on again tomorrow. It's a simple supply zone trade. So the idea is to go for a short at 385, stop loss at 390, ideal targets at 1% on the downside. Moving on to the next one, PL. PL, we are simply going with the flow on this one. It has broken the upper ceiling at 1500 or the resistance that it had. Now one reason for this one would be that we had a news on PL. You can Google that up. So because of that, it had a sudden surge on the upside. Now we hope that is going to be sustained tomorrow, and that is what we are basing our trade upon. Simple role reversal because it was not a gap induced break, but rather a strong driven breakout of resistance. So the idea is to go for a long position at 1500, stop loss at 1480, ideal targets 1% on the upside. Coming on to the next one, IndusInd Bank. Now IndusInd Bank, well, we don't really have strong levels at this point, but what we are going to do here is take a trade in the direction of the move at close to 30 to 35 40% retracement of the recent swing like this one, from 560 to 620. So the idea on IndusInd Bank is to enter a long position at 590, stop loss going at 582, ideal targets 1% on the upside. And honestly, by the time it comes to that point, it might have a flag formation too. So let's see how it goes. Coming on to the next one, MFSL. MFSL, we are going to go for a breakdown trade. If you look at the previous 3 days of or the 2 days of trading on this one, it had a strong gap, and then it went into consolidation, but it could not really again break that previous swing high. So it seems that that's the buyers that were there, they aren't really that confident anymore. We also have a big gap on the downside from 570 to 580, so that also needs to be filled. So now we are going to go for a breakdown trade here. Sell under 600, big round number, psychological support, it might act as one. So going short under 600, stop loss at 610, ideal targets 1% on the downside. Slightly aggressive trade, but quite interesting. Let's see. Moving on to the next one, Oro Pharma. Now Oro Pharma, we are going to go for a breakout trade on this one on the upside, simply because every time it has come into contact with the resistance point at 890, it has come down, but it has also made higher lows. So that means the supply that was enacting at that point, either that supply is remaining constant, or the demand that is coming in at every dip is increasing. So either way, once it breaks out of that, it should see a swift decent up move. So the idea is to go for a long above 890, stop loss at 880, ideal targets 1% on the upside. Moving on to the final one for equity, Bharat Forge. Now Bharat Forge, finally it has broken out of that supply zone at 508, 510. But the way that it has broken out of that is very impulsively, with little to no consolidation. And even after that breakout, it had almost a bearish engulfing. So we are not really going long at the current market price, but rather slightly at a roughly 40 to 50% retracement of the breakout. So the idea is to go for a long position at 505, stop loss at 497, ideal targets 1% on the upside. Let's see how this one pans out. We were waiting for this breakout since a couple of days, and finally it has happened. So let's see whether it is sustained or not. Now coming to the indices. Now indices, talking about today's expiry first of all before moving on. As I said, it had a gap, could not be sustained. I have told you guys again and again, first of all, if there is a gap, then gap wala zone break, gap wala range break does not count, and that gap needs to be filled. So that's what happened today too. The gap up that we had was not sustainable, and then it quickly used the entire trading session to fill that gap more or less. Now aggressive traders, they could have managed some short positions close to 11,600, because as it is, that was a resistance point, or then even under 11,580 once it failed to sustain that too, for small 30 to 40 points. I don't know how you guys traded that. I hope you guys did and you are in the green, but I personally did not trade Nifty today, simply because there was no valid entry point. Now talking about tomorrow's trades, one more thing on the chart, I have made a slight modification. I have added the Fibonacci retracement, simply because the trending moves that we have had since the last couple of days strongly one-sided, and it only adds to a confirmation of judgment more or less to me, because we do not have a lot of zones. I am being very aggressive with the zones that I have plotted, because more or less Nifty is at the pre-pandemic levels, close to that at least. So we don't have any recent points of interaction at the said prices. So these are very aggressive zones. So just to add that slight bit of extra confirmation, I have added Fibonacci retracement. Now if you want to learn how to use Fibonacci retracement, you can always check out the Fibonacci retracement wala learning video that we did a couple of weeks ago. Head to the channel, select the trading tool playlist, and then you can find that. Now more about that later, or you can simply go watch that video. But for tomorrow, Nifty, well, if you are being aggressive, then you can go for longs near 0.38 to a 38% retracement with confirmation of the zone as well. Or if you are looking for short trades, then 0 or you have a zone at 11,600 there too. So you can go both ways. Or if you are a conservative trader, then well, go for entry either at the break of the demand zone or the supply zone, or long above 11,600 or short under 11,550, depending on how is your risk appetite. Now when we talk about the option chain, we have immediate resistance at 11,600 with 668,000 added contracts, significant resistance at 11,700 with 464,000 added contracts, pretty far away. You have immediate support at 11,500 with 790,000 added contracts, pretty hefty. Significant support at 11,400 with 542,000 added contracts, again a big number, but pretty far away. So what's important right now is the range of 11,600 and 11,500. The direction of break of this range is going to decide the short-term short-term Nifty direction. But as I said before, I am still not bearish on Nifty unless it breaks 11,500. So I have my longs entered at this point. Once it it was about to break out of this range, I took longs at this point. But it's on September future, so there's nothing to worry about the expiry as of now. So let's see how that goes. Now when we talk about the PCR for Nifty, PCR comes out to be at a very bearish 1.12. Now keep in mind, this is the PCR of volume and not the PCR of open interest. So this is giving you the insight on the option buyer's mindset. So a lot of option buyers are bearish on Nifty, but then option buyers have always been more or less purely speculative in nature. So let's see how this pans out for tomorrow. moving on to the next index, Bank Nifty. Now Bank Nifty, same thing. I have added the Fibonacci retracement using these swing high and swing low points. As I said, if you want to learn more on Fibonacci, feel free to check out the video on the channel. You can find that out. Or it's also probably going to be in the description. Yeah, I'll add it there as well. So you can just check out the description and find the Fibonacci video from there too. Now for tomorrow, Bank Nifty, I do not really have any aggressive entry points. For an aggressive long, there's this long about 23,700 for a quick 120 points. But for a short entry, I don't really see something as such, because neither the option chain nor the Fibonacci or the zones are giving me any indication that the price is about to fall down. Now, I might be wrong here, but as per my sense of judgment, I simply don't have anything that is telling me to look for short entries as of now. Now when we come to the option chain, you have immediate resistance at 23,800, which is what I asked you guys to target if you are going long above the zone of 23,700. For significant resistance, you have 24,000 with 236,000 added contracts. On the support side of things, you have 23,600 with 150,000 added contracts, and more or less at the current market price. So writers are confident that it is going to go up. And significant support at 23,500 with 222,000 added contracts. So if you were to force me to take an entry, I would say go look for longs near 23,500 if it comes to that point, provided that you are able to read the slightly the dynamic option chain changes in the market, and just check for once whether there is some put unwinding at 23,500, 23,600. Because if there isn't, and even if then Bank Nifty is taking a dip, then the put writers are not being shaken out, then it might be certain that it's going to go right back up. So that is my bias for tomorrow. Now when we talk about the PCR for Bank Nifty, it comes out to be at 0.98, still bearish, but not as much as Nifty. Now even for Bank Nifty, I don't really have a short bias as of now, unless it breaks 23,500, 23,400, which I don't think is going to happen really soon, because we don't have a lot of bearish economic news or macroeconomic factors coming in right now. We might have some in the coming weeks, but as of now I don't see anything. However, if you think I'm missing some important point of news, or any point of angle that you'd like to bring to my view, please be free to share it with me in the comment section below, so that if I'm wrong, I might get a chance to correct myself before I enter a trade. Now these are all the charts that I had to discuss with you guys. I hope you guys like the content, and if you might have noticed, we have changed the watch list back to the regular one, because well, it was simply more or less of an experiment yesterday from my side. We'll decide what to do with the actual watch list from the coming week onwards. Now I hope you guys have a good green trading session tomorrow, and I hope you guys have a fantastic weekend with your friends and family. Thank you so much for watching, guys. As always, guys, if you like the content and if you do like the channel and everything that we post here, support us by pressing the like button, comment something nice, and share, and you might as well hit that bell notification icon. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Have a good night. Bye.